The sixth house, or Shatru Bhava, the struggle. Aries rising, part 1. Aries rising is raw, direct, and action-first, driven by Mars. This native instinctively leads with boldness, initiative, and a relentless will to confront life head-on. The world meets them as a battlefield. Their presence demands movement. With Virgo as the sixth house sign, the tone of daily struggle is dramatically reshaped. Virgo, ruled by Mercury, brings order, analysis, and detailed discernment into the house of work, health, and conflict. This means the Aries rising individual must integrate precision into their power, bringing method to impulse and logic to instinct. The warrior must learn to be a craftsman. This house activates at ages 6, 18, 30, 42, 54, 66, and 78. Virgo in the sixth house means that challenges cannot simply be smashed through. They must be understood, analyzed, and improved upon. The Aries rising native must shift gears when navigating daily life. Instead of charging forward blindly, Virgo asks for attention to routines, hygiene, structure, and intelligent service. This creates a personality that appears outwardly bold and straightforward, but inwardly becomes self-corrective, always striving to refine methods and upgrade systems. There's an internal pressure to not just win, but to win efficiently, cleanly, and precisely. Mars rules the Aries ascendant and governs the identity, body, and perception of action. Mercury rules the sixth house and governs the terrain of daily conflict, health, and routines. The Mars-Mercury dynamic here can create tension between speed and precision, instinct, and intellect. The Aries rising person may feel frustrated by delays or the need to think through things. Yet Virgo's influence in the sixth house teaches that discipline is not about slowing down. It's about mastery. This is where Aries begins to grow beyond impulse and steps into intentionality. This combination lends itself to an intense self-discipline ethic. Aries brings the fire, Virgo brings the grind. These individuals often push themselves hard, expecting flawless execution in work and demanding self-control in health. Their battle is often with their own flaws. Virgo's inner critic meets Aries' drive, leading to cycles of overworking, perfectionism, and physical burnout, if not moderated. They must learn that struggle is not weakness, but the shaping force of character. Their victories are earned through self-improvement, not just force. Physiologically, Virgo governs the small intestine, immune system, and adrenal response, all systems that refine, sort, and protect. Aries rising amplifies the urgency to act, and when filtered through Virgo's detail focus, this creates a hypervigilant energy. They may develop sensitivities to food, schedules, or work stress. Their body speaks in fine-tuned signals, and ignoring those can lead to health crises. Strength comes when they combine Mars's vitality with Mercury's attentiveness, when they learn to listen, not just react. Emotionally, they are task-driven, easily identifying themselves through productivity. Service becomes a battlefield. If they feel useless or inefficient, it strikes the heart of their identity. They are often their own harshest critic. Yet through daily refinement, they become capable of extraordinary precision, leading teams, correcting systems, healing the broken. They must be reminded that rest is not laziness, and perfection is not a precondition for love. Grace within the grind is their hidden strength. In childhood, they may have shown defiance, physical energy, or a drive to complete chores on their own terms. At 18, they're likely to rebel against passive environments, choosing paths that challenge their will. At 30, many step into work that involves advocacy, protection, or efficiency. By 42, their service becomes sacred. They see work as a way to contribute, not just achieve. Every stage of life sharpens their edge, but also humbles their flame. Their brilliance is in clean fire. The ability to take action not with chaos, but with control. They shine in crisis because they act swiftly, but with a plan. Their genius is strategic repair, informed service, and humble mastery. They don't shine to conquer, they shine to improve. And in the precision of their effort lies the quiet dignity of those who have battled not just the world, but themselves, and emerged clearer, sharper, and more useful to all. The sixth house, or Shatru Bhava, the struggle. Aries rising, part 2. When Mars and Mercury conjoin in the sixth house, a fierce executor meets analytical precision. Mars brings vigor, direct action, and confrontational energy. Mercury introduces skill, reasoning, and systemization. For Aries rising, this yoga forms a sharp intellect directed toward solving problems, dismantling inefficiencies, and dominating through smart effort. These individuals fight with logic, argue with structure, and reform chaos into clarity. If afflicted, this pairing may bring verbal aggression, argumentative habits, or stress from micromanagement and overcritical tendencies, particularly in professional routines or health fixation. Mars and Saturn together here forge a yoga of disciplined grit and unrelenting endurance. Mars pushes forward, Saturn endures and regulates. In the 6th house, this manifests as relentless work ethic, courage in adversity, and a capacity to bear long struggles without losing momentum. These natives handle chronic challenges with martial commitment and structured response, ideal for emergency management, medicine, or law enforcement. If afflicted, the friction between impulsiveness and control may cause inner suppression, inflammation, or chronic health stress due to repressed anger and overwork. Mercury and Saturn in conjunction offer structured intelligence and procedural focus. Mercury organizes, Saturn defines. These natives become detail-oriented perfectionists in their work, often excelling in data analysis, auditing, or clinical routines. This yoga empowers daily life with intellectual restraint and problem-solving maturity. If well-placed, they navigate illness and stress with calm strategy. If afflicted, it may manifest as overcautiousness, worry-driven analysis, or criticism that turns inward and erodes self-worth. Moon and Saturn in the 6th reflect emotional discipline and structured caregiving. The moon emotes and nurtures. Saturn teaches resilience through limitation. These individuals may feel emotionally burdened in daily life, but develop strength by showing up regardless of mood. They nurture through constancy, caregiving professions, nutrition, or healing through routine. When balanced, they are emotionally steady in crisis. If afflicted, this yoga may create mood repression, emotional withdrawal in work, or chronic health anxiety born from emotional fatigue. Jupiter and Mercury in the 6th house create a yoga of applied wisdom and intelligent service. Jupiter expands and blesses. Mercury calculates and refines. This pairing supports roles where knowledge is used to uplift daily environments. Teachers, counselors, analysts, or healers. For Aries rising, this conjunction elevates the daily grind into something sacred, a place where meaning is applied through method. When benefic, it grants health insight, organizational clarity, and healing communication. When afflicted, it may result in overthinking, overpromising, or moral superiority in the workplace. Mars and Ketu in the 6th house fuel a silent warrior archetype, direct action blended with detachment. Mars acts, Ketu cuts away. These natives may appear calm but strike with surgical focus when provoked. This conjunction supports intuitive fighters, crisis responders, and karma-resolving service professionals. If balanced, it grants the courage to walk away from unworthy battles and fight only what's meaningful. If afflicted, this yoga can manifest as unacknowledged rage, self-sabotaging routines, or mysteriously recurring health issues. Venus and Mercury in the 6th offer a yoga of refined service, aesthetic care, and graceful correction. Venus charms and soothes. Mercury analyzes and corrects. These individuals work in beauty-oriented service, healing through nutrition, cosmetic therapy, or harmonious organization. Their intelligence has a soft edge, problem-solving with elegance and tact. When well-placed, this yoga supports health advisors, counselors, or artistic administrators. If afflicted, there may be passive-aggressive tendencies, excessive people-pleasing at work, or emotional depletion from serving without clear boundaries. Sun and Saturn together in the 6th house create a powerful blend of ego discipline and leadership through responsibility. The Sun shines with purpose, Saturn humbles and structures. These natives carry heavy responsibilities in service roles and may command respect in institutional or systemic reform. They thrive in regulated environments, particularly where hard-earned recognition is the reward. When benefic, it creates ethical leaders and dutiful reformers. When afflicted, this yoga may bring struggles with authority, burnout from unacknowledged effort, or health conditions tied to ego rigidity. For Aries risings, Virgo in the 6th house creates a battlefield of refinement, where instinct must bow to improvement and fire must learn to be clean. These yogas show how the struggle can be intelligent, artistic, spiritual, or quietly courageous. Their challenge is learning to serve without suppressing self and to lead without the need to dominate. Their brilliance emerges when they stop reacting to flaws and start rebuilding from within. Their strength is not in how fast they strike, but in how skillfully they solve. And in that silent, precise labor of mastery, they become warriors of the everyday. The sixth house, or Shatru Bhava, the struggle, Leo rising, part 1. Leo rising is radiant, self-assured, and deeply attuned to identity, pride, and self-expression. Ruled by the sun, these individuals naturally seek visibility, creative control, and principled leadership. Their personality is noble, and their presence often commands attention. But with Capricorn occupying the sixth house, their daily battlefield demands humility, labor, and endurance. Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, brings structure, austerity, and karmic rigor into the realm of daily work, health, and conflict. For Leo rising, this placement transforms the royal into a servant of responsibility. The stage is replaced by a grindstone. This house activates at ages 6, 18, 30, 42, 54, 66, and 78. Capricorn in the sixth house introduces themes of structure, hierarchy, and long-term pressure in everyday life. While Leo seeks recognition, Capricorn demands persistence in obscurity. The Leo rising must gradually learn that service is not servitude, but sacred structure. Routines, health management, and workplace struggles become arenas where they build inner authority. Rather than shining brightly from the start, these individuals are asked to prove themselves slowly, through integrity and repetition. Saturn, as the lord of the sixth house, imposes maturity early. These natives may find that daily life involves more responsibility than expected, be it through caregiving, health challenges, or difficult work settings. The fire of Leo must bow to the grind of Saturn. Yet through this challenge emerges a remarkable kind of quiet strength, the dignity of those who serve without being seen, who endure without applause. These individuals refine their ego through duty, not to diminish it, but to earn authentic self-respect. Work for Leo rising with Capricorn in the sixth is rarely glamorous. It involves systems, accountability, and long-term effort, legal structuring, financial planning, management, or institutional reform. These natives must learn to lead within constraint, to develop humility before assuming command. When younger, they may rebel against mundane work. But with time, they come to see that leadership must first be learned through discipline, service, and consequence. Physiologically, Capricorn governs the knees, bones, joints, and skin, structures that hold, support, and protect. Health challenges may revolve around rigidity, chronic tension, or skeletal strain. These individuals must care for their bodies through posture, boundaries, and time-aware discipline. Wellness is less about indulgence and more about rhythm, sleep cycles, regular routines, and aging with grace. Overwork or ignoring physical limits can lead to systemic fatigue or burnout in the long run. Emotionally, the Leo rising with this placement often learns through frustration. The desire to shine clashes with the need to be patient, useful, and low profile in early service roles. They may feel under-recognized or burdened in environments that don't value their vision. But those who endure eventually rise as true leaders because they've done the foundational labor. They discover a form of pride that doesn't shout, but emanates quietly through competence and composure. In childhood, they may have been expected to take on responsibility early, either through caring for siblings, dealing with rigid parental expectations, or striving to earn approval through excellence. At 18, they may start to develop work ethics grounded in discipline, even if their heart yearns for freedom. At 30, many begin to ascend professionally, gaining respect as structured contributors or team leaders. By 42, they become elders in training, those who guide not by charisma alone, but by the example of constancy and reliability. Their brilliance lies in how they turn endurance into elegance. They are the architects of daily life, the quiet reformers who know that great achievements are made in small steps over time. They shine not through spectacle, but through structure. And in the slow, steady grind of Capricorn's sixth house, they build an integrity that no applause can match. Their struggle is noble, not because it's loud, but because it's real. The sixth house, or Shatru Bhava, the struggle, Leo rising, part 2. When Saturn and Mars conjoin in the sixth house, effort becomes endurance, and struggle becomes structured warfare. Saturn brings restraint, responsibility, and karmic weight. Mars offers courage, drive, and precision. In Capricorn, where Saturn is in its own sign and Mars is exalted, this yoga is particularly potent for Leo rising. These natives become masters of disciplined confrontation. They handle crisis with control, fight injustice with patience, and grind through adversity with martial focus. When benefic, this conjunction produces unbreakable work ethic, physical stamina, and leadership under pressure. If afflicted, it may create suppressed anger, chronic stress, or overwork that hardens the emotional core. Mars and Rahu together form a volatile yet powerful combination in Capricorn's 6th house. Mars initiates and asserts, Rahu intensifies and distorts. This conjunction makes Leo risings relentless in the pursuit of goals, especially in professional or competitive arenas. These natives are tactical and fearless, often excelling in high-stakes environments like litigation, crisis management, or elite institutions. If well-placed, this yoga grants exceptional focus and the ability to dismantle opposition with strategic force. If afflicted, it may lead to ruthlessness, workplace manipulation, or obsessive conflict dynamics that erode long-term well-being. Saturn and Rahu in conjunction here form a yoga of karmic endurance and institutional mastery. Saturn sets boundaries, Rahu pushes them. For Leo risings, this creates a deep fixation on rising through structured hierarchies, often through unconventional means. These individuals may become obsessed with system reform, authority roles, or the need to control their environment through tireless work. When benefic, this yoga supports success through systems, political endurance, or mastery over bureaucratic complexity. When afflicted, it may bring anxiety around failure, paranoia in work settings, or health issues tied to control and rigidity. Mars and Ketu in the 6th bring precision, detachment, and surgical decisiveness. Mars fights, Ketu dissolves ego and attachment. In Capricorn, this yoga favors understated but lethal efficiency. Leo risings with this combination may serve through decisive action, whether in military, security, medical intervention, or karmic dispute resolution. They often do their best work in solitude or behind the scenes. When well placed, this conjunction grants calm courage, spiritualized service, and immunity to petty distractions. If afflicted, it may manifest as isolation, repressed rage, or emotional numbness in the face of chronic struggle. Saturn and Ketu create a signature of solitary endurance and spiritual labor. Saturn structures karmic responsibility. Ketu cuts away illusion. Together in Capricorn's 6th house, this yoga teaches Leo risings to serve without needing validation. These individuals often carry ancestral or karmic burdens, enduring silent hardships while performing essential duties. When benefic, it produces wise, grounded service leaders. If afflicted, it can result in isolation, spiritual fatigue, or cycles of thankless effort that feel invisible to others. Mars and Mercury in conjunction offer tactical intelligence and strategic communication. Mars pushes action, Mercury articulates and analyzes. In the 6th house, this pairing equips Leo risings with a sharp mind for solving conflicts, managing teams, and defending principles through clear argumentation. This yoga supports careers in law, operations, or emergency planning. When benefic, it brings mental sharpness and decisive thought. When afflicted, it may result in argumentative tendencies, verbal aggression, or misdirected critique in the workplace. Saturn and Mercury together bring cautious, calculated thinking into the 6th house. Saturn slows and deepens Mercury's ideas, creating a methodical problem solver. For Leo rising, this is the mark of the administrator, the compliance expert, or the quietly wise strategist. These individuals tend to accumulate knowledge over time, often becoming invaluable assets in institutions or systems management. When well placed, it leads to steady intellectual growth and deep respect in work environments. If afflicted, it can cause mental rigidity, overcorrection, or a fear of being wrong that leads to delay. Jupiter and Saturn in the 6th form a yoga of structured wisdom and moral responsibility. Jupiter expands purpose, Saturn grounds it. In Capricorn, this pairing tempers Jupiter's optimism with real-world practicality. Leo risings benefit here by aligning their service with institutional reform, educational policy, or elder care. When benefic, it grants ethical leadership and disciplined mentoring. When afflicted, it may create internal conflict between vision and duty, leading to cycles of overpromising and underdelivering in strained professional environments. For Leo risings, Capricorn in the 6th house demands that their fire be forged through time, effort, and ethical labor. These conjunctions reveal how their innate leadership must pass through the crucible of structure. Their greatest power lies not in flair, but in showing up consistently, refining their will through duty. They don't win battles with drama, they win with discipline. And in every act of quiet service, they rise, not to impress, but to embody the radiant dignity of one who has earned their crown through labor, not applause. The sixth house, or Shatru Bhava, the struggle, Sagittarius rising, part 1. Sagittarius rising is optimistic, expansive, and guided by a natural search for meaning. Ruled by Jupiter, these individuals are drawn to big ideas, higher ideals, and wide horizons. They often see life as a journey, fueled by learning, philosophy, and a deep belief in growth. Yet with Taurus placed in the sixth house, their daily struggles are anchored in the physical, material, and pragmatic. Taurus, ruled by Venus, introduces themes of embodiment, habit, resource management, and value consciousness into the realm of work, health, and conflict. For Sagittarius rising, whose spirit aims for the sky, the sixth house demands that they bring their ideals down to earth. This house activates at ages 6, 18, 30, 42, 54, 66, and 78. Taurus in the sixth house infuses the battlefield of life with slow, stubborn, and sensual terrain. While Sagittarius naturally races toward new philosophies or distant futures, Taurus slows them down, requiring that they build routines, attend to the body, and stay present with physical reality. These natives must learn to reconcile the desire for freedom with the necessity of maintenance. Health, work, and service can't be idealized. They must be structured, nourished, and sustained. Venus, as the ruler of this house, brings refinement, artistry, and peace-seeking into the space of daily labor and resistance. Sagittarius rising may struggle initially with the contrast. While they seek wisdom through adventure, Taurus demands wisdom through repetition and consistency. There's often early frustration in handling the slow pace of work life, the physical demands of health routines, or the emotional weight of unresolved conflicts. Over time, however, they discover that real freedom arises from grounded habits. When the body is well, the spirit can soar further. Service for these natives must feel valuable and pleasant. With Venus here, their work thrives in calm, beauty-conscious, or client-facing environments. They do well in wellness-related roles, nature-based vocations, food industries, or artistic services. But if they resist grounding, their sixth house becomes a place of stagnation, indulgence, or disconnection from bodily signals. They must be careful not to confuse avoidance with serenity. Taurus teaches them to stay with discomfort long enough to refine it into peace. Physiologically, Taurus rules the throat, lower jaw, and voice, as well as the body's sensory pleasures and food-related systems. Sagittarius rising with this placement must watch for issues with digestion, overeating, or ignoring the body's call for rest and stillness. Often, imbalances emerge through emotional eating, sluggish routines, or overindulgence as a form of escapism. Healing comes through sensory presence, slow meals, physical pleasure without guilt, and cultivating a steady rhythm in the body-mind connection. Emotionally, these individuals often wrestle with the burden of repetition. Sagittarius longs for what's next, but Taurus in the sixth house asks them to refine what's here. They may resist strict schedules or emotionally disengage from routine care, only to rediscover the beauty in simple rituals: cooking, walking, tending, building. The more they engage with these earthy habits, the more their nervous system calms, and their sense of purpose becomes rooted in something real. In childhood, they may have struggled with slow-paced environments, feeling trapped by routines or frustrated with the limits of structure. At 18, they begin to notice the need for self-care and financial responsibility, often prompted by physical stress or material necessity. By 30, many gravitate toward creating beautiful, useful systems in work or health, offering their idealism in grounded service. At 42, they become the embodiment of steadiness, modeling how spiritual growth is enhanced, not hindered, by honoring life's physical rhythms. Their brilliance lies in embodying value, in showing others that meaning isn't only found in abstraction, but in the slow, steady tending of life. They shine not through speed, but through sustainability. In Taurus's sixth house, the Sagittarius rising learns to root their fire in form, to bring big visions into small, daily actions. Their struggle becomes their stability. And through their patient refinement of life's details, they become the bridge between heaven and earth, honoring both spirit and soil. The sixth house, or Shatru Bhava, the struggle, Sagittarius rising part 2. When Venus and Saturn conjoin in the sixth house, beauty meets structure, and value becomes discipline. Venus refines, Saturn stabilizes. For Sagittarius rising, with Taurus ruling the sixth house, this conjunction matures the native's approach to daily work and health. It creates a capacity to serve with grace while maintaining emotional detachment and long-term consistency. These individuals may work in fields where aesthetic sensibility meets endurance, sustainable design, food production, financial services, or therapeutic care. When benefic, this yoga bestows work stability, physical resilience, and the ability to build beauty from repetition. If afflicted, it can manifest as emotional coldness in relationships, work fatigue, or guilt over pleasure. Venus and Rahu in Taurus create a yoga of sensual intensity and refined ambition. Venus draws in, Rahu amplifies. In the sixth house, this conjunction brings a heightened desire to prove one's value through work or health perfection. Sagittarius rising with this yoga may become obsessed with routines, appearances, or material gain through service-based work. When benefic, it leads to mastery in branding, luxury service industries, or healing through sensory pleasure. If afflicted, it can cause compulsive perfectionism, unhealthy body image obsessions, or emotional entanglement in workplace dynamics. Saturn and Rahu in Taurus together forge a yoga of strategic endurance and karmic realism. Saturn builds systems, Rahu disrupts norms. In the sixth house, this combination for Sagittarius rising can create tension between craving material security and fearing stagnation. These individuals may navigate heavy karmic service, often carrying ancestral burdens or working within rigid economic structures. When well placed, this yoga grants the patience and innovation to thrive in demanding environments. If afflicted, it may result in chronic exhaustion, scarcity-based overwork, or resistance to pleasure due to inherited guilt or social pressure. Mars and Venus in Taurus energize sensual creativity and active value building. Mars asserts, Venus attracts. In the sixth house, this conjunction gives Sagittarius rising the stamina to actively pursue beauty, comfort, and security through daily effort. These individuals may excel in performance-based service, artisanal work, or relationship-focused problem-solving. When benefic, it results in assertive harmony, handling conflict through charm and grounded confidence. If afflicted, it can result in impulsive indulgence, over-sexualization of power dynamics at work, or clashes between desire and discipline. Mars and Saturn in Taurus combine drive with durability, action and resistance coexisting in a slow-burning flame. Mars wants immediacy, Saturn wants structure. In the sixth house, this conjunction builds an unshakable work ethic, where Sagittarius rising learns to master the body and the task at hand over time. These natives may take on long-term physical training, dietary mastery, or strategic financial growth. When benefic, it grants strong bones, firm resolve, and the power to reform slow systems. When afflicted, it can create bodily rigidity, tension from blocked desire, or inner conflict between pleasure and purpose. Mars and Rahu in Taurus form a yoga of charged ambition and physicalized obsession. Mars initiates, Rahu intensifies. In the sixth house, this pairing drives Sagittarius rising toward perfectionism, control of the body, or domination through service. These individuals may aggressively pursue security or status via health, wealth, or service, often excelling in crisis repair, combat fitness, or luxury industries with a competitive edge. If benefic, this yoga makes them fierce competitors and strategic survivors. If afflicted, it may create addictive patterns with food, body image, or emotionally charged rivalry in the workplace. Mars and Ketu in Taurus produce a yoga of silent precision and detached endurance. Mars acts, Ketu dissolves ego. In the sixth house, this conjunction can make Sagittarius rising native a solitary craftsman, minimalist healer, or invisible reformer. These individuals often work quietly, powerfully, and without seeking recognition, correcting dysfunction through tangible action. When well placed, it supports clean execution, intuitive strategy, and karmic detachment in service. When afflicted, it may lead to emotional suppression, sudden withdrawal from responsibility, or unresolved frustration expressed through the body. Saturn and Ketu in Taurus indicate spiritualized labor, material detachment, and karmic purification through repetition. Saturn defines the grind. Ketu strips it of personal glory. In the 6th house, this yoga places Sagittarius rising in roles that feel heavy, quiet, and rarely acknowledged. Long-term caregiving, hidden support work, or stabilizing family finances over decades. If benefic, it bestows immense spiritual maturity through physical work. If afflicted, it may result in chronic dissatisfaction, spiritual apathy, or disconnection from bodily joy despite functional health. For Sagittarius rising, Taurus in the 6th house demands that idealism be planted in the soil of service. These conjunctions show how work becomes worship, how struggle becomes strength. Their growth lies in building value, not in fantasy, but in form. They don't rise by escaping struggle. They rise by tending to it, one day at a time, with hands that know both weight and grace. And in the quiet, rhythmic rituals of body and labor, they discover a truth that endures. Peace isn't found far away. It's built where they stand.